Okay, so thank you all for coming. Very happy to have you here. I'm Laura McCardle. I'm Assistant Director at our Center for Career Development, and standing up back there is our Director, Kelly Young, and then we have the lovely Lauren Meyer, our Office and Recruiting Coordinator in the blue there. So great to see all of you guys. Today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn and networking. First of all, just to get some buy-in, we're going to talk about the value of networking. Hopefully you all recognize that, but we're going to talk about it a little bit just to frame everything else that we'll talk about today. And then I'm going to actually jump into LinkedIn and just show you a lot of helpful tools and functions and tips for how to use it. And then we'll sort of connect these things and get into sort of now what or how to connect, and how you can use these tools to benefit you in your career search and your job search and everything. And as you have questions, throw them out. As we're going. You don't have to wait till the end or anything. So what are some things that come to mind when you hear this word? Feel free to just yell them out.
Knowing people.
Knowing people. Yes.
Business cards.
Business cards. Totally. Yes.
Connecting with people.
Connecting with people. Yeah. Anything else?
Happy hours.
Happy hours. Absolutely. For some people, this response networking might be like horrible, terrible, scary, don't want to do it, or fake, or things like that. So there's definitely, I think, a perception sometimes of networking being that goes along with that language. So feel free to think of it in a different way if it helps you. Meeting new people in your field, getting to know people in your field, getting advice and information, making new friends in your field. Someone put it to me once, and I kind of like that. You're just trying to get to know people and gather information. And as you think about who is in your network, there's the thing that we've heard us say since you landed on campus, definitely the alumni network. It's going to be huge and make a huge difference in your career search. But also, don't forget about your friends, family, the professors here, and once connected with all of these people, you're then connected to their whole network. So just by knowing me and Lauren and Kelly, you're by default now connected to those people too, and that can be a nice way to think about it, and I'll elaborate further on that. But one person is not meeting one person. It's sort of automatically getting connected to everyone they know as well. So the why network. Insights into your field and sector. This can be extremely helpful. Some of you are already here and might have an idea of what you want to do. You may have no idea what you want to do, or maybe you have a focus area, and having conversations with people, alums or other professionals in your field are going to give you great insight into the work-life balance. What do projects look like? What's hiring looking like in that field? So you'll get insights that you might not otherwise receive. You'll get tips on jobs, and hopefully, and we often see people offering to forward your resume. If you're letting someone know that you're applying somewhere, oftentimes alums might offer to connect you with the right person, but it's good to do that groundwork early, like the beginning of your time here or the fall semester, so you already have contacts in place that you can follow up with about specific questions or maybe assistance with job applications. And then there's the fact that some jobs aren't posted, and you won't know about them unless you know the right person, and so helping yourself to know the right people. Getting recommended if someone can speak on your behalf for a position, and leading to those hidden opportunities or unadvertised positions. And then people know other people, so someone may reach out to me looking for a specific connection within an organization, and I don't know that person, but I know someone that works in that field or that sector, and so maybe I'll ask that person, and so the connections lead to further connections. The fact that employers often hire based on referrals. If we get sometimes hundreds of applicants for a position, if someone can vouch for one of those applicants in that huge pool, it makes an enormous difference when you go to apply. And the idea of networking, hopefully, if you say you're just starting doing this now, hopefully it will start now and it'll never stop, basically. So always be trying to connect, reach out, meet new people, get coffees, get lunches, and learn more about, changes in your field or having contacts that you can reach out to, and then jobs will start to find you as your career progresses. And you just never know. You never know who is going to know who. And as you're meeting and connecting with people, always be ready to talk about yourself, because you may run into someone at a presentation here at Maxwell, and that person might be or know like the perfect person for you and for your area of employment. So keep that in mind. And as you begin this networking journey, the first person might not be the person. So as you kind of have these conversations and connect, don't be discouraged if the first one just sort of might not lead to a job, because it usually doesn't work that way. But the constant connecting and getting used to that, you'll start to see sort of the fruits of that labor with information about jobs and contacts and ultimately maybe landing the right thing. So be persistent and always trying to have something to go to next. So if I have a meeting with an alum, I definitely want to wrap up with, okay, well, what am I asking for next? Whether it's, we talked about this person, could you make an introduction for me to that next person, or who else do you think I should speak to? So you can always kind of keep the ball rolling there. So as you're thinking about networking, think, who do you know? How did you first become interested in your field, or the MPA program, or Maxwell? And there might be a network just surrounding that, about how you became aware of it or how you learned about the field of public administration. Who currently works where you would like to work? And think about our alumni network as far as when you start to brainstorm who are these people that you want to network with. So we do an alumni and employment survey every year, and one of the questions that we ask is, did you contact a Maxwell alum as part of your job search? So these are just sort of testimonials or examples of how this is happening, and this is not everyone that responded to the questions, just a few. But several alums work for my employer. I spoke to 3 or 4 people while in the process of applying for my job, and that person is now in that job. My current boss, after an Albany networking event, this person met an alum that was able to connect regarding their current employment. A Maxwell alum posted the job, so I contacted them. That happens all the time. Our office constantly gets jobs emailed from specific individuals. So anytime you see a posting on our career management system that's on our website where we post our jobs, there's usually going to be a contact associated with that, which will be in the posting, or you can always stop in and ask us questions about that. Getting help with applications, finding a contact and being directed to the right hiring manager. Reached out to an alum who works in my current unit via the Maxwell Alumni Network. So these are just perfect examples of how people are utilizing the network, and it's leading to their employment. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is just related to a small piece of what you mentioned, which is like your online career system.
Yeah.
Is that the only forum through which you push out information about potential job opportunities, or do you have, like, for instance, separate listservs based on our specific policy interest area, or interest in like government versus consulting?
Yeah. So our office, anything that we get will be in that system. We
Okay.
generally do not push out listservs, but you'll find a little bit of that around the building. Sometimes faculty members might. Our global programs coordinator, Isaac, usually does that for our.
Share that with Isaac, and
Okay.
Isaac will also push it out
Yep.
on his listserv.
Okay.
So there are some opportunities that are multiple shared. And then it seems like if there's an opportunity that requires a lot of experience, that will push it out on our LinkedIn group.
Okay.
Yeah, but generally,
Generally,
what we know is
Yes.
going to be there,
Yeah.
and it's on you to do the searching kind
Okay.
of, or the browsing.
Thank you.
Yep. I'm just going to plug this in here because there didn't seem like another good place for it. Probably goes without saying at this level, but just be very aware of your professional image, specifically online and on social media, and that every single one of those, I don't actually know what this one is, but Tumblr, thank you. Yep, I'm really hip. So just be conscious of like the pictures that you use for your profiles. This might be one. Sometimes people forget about, and make sure it's a professional image versus sort of like crazy fun times image, because you never know when someone's going to Google you and what's going to come up. So it's just good practice to sort of check those things. And of course the things that you're saying on these different mediums, and making sure you're representing yourself the way that you want to be. So if anyone has questions, feel free to talk to us about that. So what is LinkedIn? Let's start with who has a LinkedIn profile currently. Good. Hopefully all of you soon enough will. What is everyone's understanding of what is LinkedIn, or how would you describe LinkedIn?
I don't know, I just started 3 days back, so.
Okay, not an expert. I heard something over here.
Professional networking.
Yeah.
Online, the place to go.
The place to go, apparently, yes. And yes, it is the place to go, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a condensed summary of your experiences and your accolades. It's
Mhm.
kind of like a resume, and then it's condensed,
sure.
though, combined with an online network.
Absolutely, yeah. More advanced than I was even thinking you guys would describe it. Like Facebook for jobs is what I'm used to hearing, but that's totally it. You know, it's a profile of you, your professional presence, and has so many other tools that we'll go into today that'll help you sort of do all of the things on here. Connect, brand yourself, reach out to people, explore, and start to figure out what are the different options that you can be looking into and pursuing. The networking is huge. Research, it is by far my favorite research tool for like, well, what organizations should I look at, or what organizations should I look for? And using this tool to find that is truly the best. And just having a professional presence, it's good to be visible and have a professional image. So this is sort of the why to be on LinkedIn. Have a professional presence, bless you,
Thank you.
be actively interested in connecting. Just by being on there, you're making yourself available to people to reach out to you, to see you. It just shows that you're eager and interested in connecting. The ability to search, which I mentioned, and explore, learn new career options and jobs. Jobs are posted on LinkedIn, so it is just an actual job board and tool for that. Research organizations and people, and connect. All great reasons to use LinkedIn. So now, hey, that's me. Now I'll just kind of start to jump right into the stuff, basically. So the LinkedIn profile. So the main key things that you'll want to focus on, because it's the first impression stuff, and having met with some people at LinkedIn, they say based on their research, these are the things that are looked at the most by far on anyone's profile. It's sort of just the first impression thing. So a professional photo, smile. You'll all have your composite pictures that you took last week, and that's certainly a common thing that we see students doing, is use their composite picture for their LinkedIn picture, though you certainly don't have to. Just make sure it's professional and clear and of you. At the end of this session, I'm going to throw up a date when the campus does a LinkedIn Live event, and you can go and have a professional headshot taken in the fall semester too. So both are options, and whatever else you may have. Your full name, certainly, or however you're known professionally. And then a tagline. So mine has like a little bit more than you might feel is necessary for yourself, but make sure you do something to identify with the field or the network. So here are a couple of random examples that you might use. You might want to be affiliated with the MPA program to show what you're doing. Maxwell School, you might plug in there. Putting the year you're graduating helps indicate, as you begin to network, when am I available? When can you hire me? When can I start, basically? The second one shows sort of an emphasis or a concentration. So an MPA can be so many things to so many people, and if you're definitely interested in a specific area, the tagline is a great opportunity to already show that active interest in that particular focus area. And then if you just want to potentially be known by certain skills, or you want to pursue certain kinds of jobs, you can throw some of those keywords in to describe you. And there are many, 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 many other options. and these are just a few. But generally, something related to your current pursuits of MPA or Maxwell is certainly helpful versus current student will be kind of generic. Okay. So now, I'm gonna jump right into, whoa, a lot of tabs. I'll jump right into LinkedIn. So I'll briefly scroll through the profile in general. We talked about the picture, the name, the tagline. Consider a number of these very, very optional. You can go absolutely insane on LinkedIn with everything that you've done down to SAT scores. So you really don't need to be doing that. It's more what you want to represent now. What are the experiences similar to your resume? It's not going to necessarily have everything, but what's most important to how you want to represent yourself now. The summary can be very helpful because it really gives context to you now and what you're interested in going forward. A tip I like to give is a little bit of past, present, and future. So currently I'm a such and such where I blah, blah, blah. Previous to that, I did X, Y, and Z. Now I'm looking to blank. You'll see this modeled in my summary. Feel free to connect with me and you can take a look at it. This is who I am. Prior to that, this is what I did. And now, looking forward, this is what I'm interested in. And then this is, those that are familiar with sort of like assessment tools, these are just things that I put in there because they are sometimes interesting to people. But that's a way to frame yourself. This is also going to be similar to like the elevator pitch, if you are all familiar with that concept of if you had to sort of present yourself to your dream employer in 60 seconds or less, what's the crucial information that you want to deliver. So that summary allows you to do that, but definitely make sure the future part is there, because if someone's looking you up, they want to be able to see how they connect with you in those interest areas of yours. Your experience, similar to your resume. I happen to have all these bullets fleshed out, but some people just have their positions, and I think that's okay. This is an opportunity to go into some detail, and if someone is really looking to potentially recruit or hire you, that detail is important, but at the very least, just the positions that you held. Recommendations, well actually, let me get there in a minute. The skills section naturally populates. I think you can actually turn it off, but I'm not going to talk much about this because I think it's kind of a silly section. But you can, I believe, set some of these things and people will endorse you, people you've never met and you've never edited anything for, so it's just kind of a funny tool. So definitely your education, you can plug in SU or Maxwell School and you kind of type it in and it populates, makes you searchable by those tools. Yep.
Is it at all advantageous to because I know you can drag the boxes,
Yeah.
to drag education up as you would for a resume for students at our level?
Yeah, that's a good question. I generally, how do I get out of here? I just want to show everyone how to move things in case you haven't seen it. If you're in the edit mode, just hover over a section here and the arrow will populate and then you can just move things like that. It's up to you as far as the order that you might want to put this in. I generally suggest not moving the education because the default order, I think most people are pretty used to navigating that way. So for me, if I'm looking into someone and I want to know where they went to school, I'm automatically going to kind of just start going like this and drilling down to education. It's just naturally how it's set up. And your tagline will hopefully make reference to the fact that you're currently a student, but it truly is yours to customize for sure. So skills, education, you're able to add coursework if you so choose. Recommendations are wonderful. Sometimes people will just feel generous and want to write you a recommendation, but I would say totally solicit them. You might want to say, I'm currently doing this and looking to just sort of up my profile, and if you're willing, I'd really appreciate if you wrote me a recommendation on my LinkedIn. I would say mine are like half and half, half random and half solicited, or I had some for certain positions, but really wanted some from other experiences too, and so there's ways to, I can help you to navigate it, but you can probably Google it. There's ways to ask through LinkedIn for recommendations, but generally I would email someone and then kind of give them the how-to if they're willing to do that. Shows your connections, groups, and all sorts of things. But I think the main pieces here are the photo, the name, the tagline, the summary, the experience, and the education. Anything else is bonus. You can do other, like this just shows the crazy amount of things that you can do. Volunteering and courses and your patents, since we all have so many projects and publications. So you can go to town. I would say less isn't more, but just think about what someone would reasonably view if they were looking at your LinkedIn profile. Does anyone have any other profile-specific questions before I shift to a couple random things? Yes?
Do you know when we're getting back the composite pictures that we took? I'd like to use that.
It's pretty fast, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's not
I wouldn't be
fast.
surprised if they were in hard copies or in like next week or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but just based on previous years, I think it's a pretty quick turnaround. I was just gonna say, yeah.
Okay.
Anytime I need a photo of a student for something, like a testimonial, she has access to them. So the short answer is soon, and I don't know, but yes.
What are your thoughts on like the setting where you can essentially like allow it to track who you're viewing so that you can view who
Are
views
the
yours?
best segue ever. That was my next thing. Does everyone know what she's referring to? What's your name?
Katie.
Katie. Does everyone know what Katie is referring to?
Yeah.
If you're on LinkedIn and I look at Lauren's profile, Lauren's going to get a notification that says, Laura McCardle viewed your profile.
Yeah.
Which can turn some people
I turned mine
off
off.
or prevent you from looking at things that could be really helpful to your search. So thank you very much. We're going to go into some privacy setting information. So for privacy settings, go up here on your little photo, just go to privacy and settings and manage. Hit privacy here. And it's these two that I want to point out to you. Sharing profile edits and profile viewing options. So sharing profile edits means if I change the description or change my title or just make any profile changes at all, the default is for it to go into the newsfeed and say, you know, Kelly changed her education. Kelly has a new job. Kelly has a new skill, and it doesn't matter, or it's just something you don't want to constantly be filled with. It's totally your choice. But choose whether your network is notified about profile changes. Mine are not. You can change that to no. But I think more importantly, profile viewing options. Choose whether you're visible or viewing in private mode. The default is to be completely viewable. The thing about this privacy mode is if you're in privacy mode, no one will be notified when you view their profile, but you will also not know who has viewed your profile. So they're sort of linked in that way. To me, it is beneficial to go into privacy mode because then you can just, whether we're calling it stalking or researching, whatever, you can do so completely freely, and I would hate for you to feel held back by the possibility, what's this person going to think that I viewed their profile? So it can be, I recommend that you turn that off. And you can always kind of go back and forth if for some reason you do want that to know who's viewed yours or anything like that. Any questions about those two things? Again, little picture, privacy and settings. Okay. And then the next little random trick I want to show you is your LinkedIn URL. You will automatically be linkedin.com/gibberish and lots of letters and numbers. There may be times like when you want to link to your LinkedIn profile, maybe on a business card or your email signature or something like that. So if you are in edit mode and go over to this little gear here, then it shows you your public profile. So if you Google my name, this will come up and be visible in this way, which you can actually change what's visible. So I have chosen to have my picture, headline, and current position and skills, change my mind, visible. But you can have the full thing, you can have almost nothing. But in the same tool, this is where you would edit your URL. So you can just change it to something that makes sense. You know, your name, your first name and last name. Certainly if it's taken, but I think they present you with a couple of different options. But either way, this is a tool you can use to make that URL a little bit more pretty, easier to look at. Any questions on those couple things? So privacy settings, public URL, and notification updates were just those three things that we went through. So a couple of other ways that you might want to use LinkedIn. Depending on your field, you might have a couple of organizations that you know you're interested in, and like whether it's because you want to work there or you just like the work that they do. So you can certainly search these different organizations. Let's see. In their company pages. So you might want to follow the American Red Cross because they post interesting things about projects. They might post about if they're hiring. So following the pages are an easy passive way to just sort of take in information about your field and organizations. Another beneficial tool within a company page on LinkedIn are, first of all, how you're connected with people who work there. So I'm first level connections with 2 people that work for the American Red Cross, and I know people. A second level connection is you know someone who knows someone. So in addition to knowing people, I know people who know people at the American Red Cross, in case that may be helpful. Job postings, companies will post jobs, and right now we have 102 jobs for the American Red Cross posted. So that's a helpful tool as well. And this finally is a tool that I like when people are saying, I don't know where to apply, I don't know what organizations, or I know I'm interested in this organization, but I don't know how to research other similar companies. On a company page, it will show you people also viewed, and you'll have a takeaway immediately of 6 other similar organizations. And you can just sort of go on and on and on, and that will sort of just build your list of organizations. These are a little bizarre, and not connected, but if you play around, you'll definitely get some. It'll help you to brainstorm or brainstorm new organizations to look into and consider. And then certainly joining groups. I mean, groups about nonprofits, and you can join these different groups. And again, people will post, my company's hiring, or there's some news, or there's some conference. So these are easy, passive ways to just engage with your professional network without really trying too hard. I guess this is a good time to mention the Maxwell LinkedIn group. Raise your hand if you've already requested to join or are in the Maxwell group. Okay, so it's kind of funny in that it's a private group, so it's actually not searchable anymore. But if you go on our website, maxwell.syr.edu/career, on our landing page, you'll click the LinkedIn thing and it'll bring you right to the Maxwell group, and you can click to join. As long as you're affiliated with Maxwell in some way and that's indicated on your profile, you will be approved to join this group. And I'll go over some of the benefits of joining the group in a little while, but I just wanted to throw that out there as another group that it's important to join and how to do that. So I'm going to now mention my two favorite tools on LinkedIn. If you write nothing else down, write down these two things. LinkedIn.com/alumni, which we're going to look at now, and then the second one is going to be the advanced search, which is just advanced. First, I'll bring you into the alumni portal. So you can either type in linkedin.com/alumni, or if you see where my mouse is now, if you go to My Network and go down to Find Alumni, it's going to bring you to this portal, which is extremely helpful, again, for your research and connecting. So the default institution that's going to come up is probably where you're currently enrolled or maybe where you previously were. In my case, I have my education at Syracuse University, so that's what comes up. You can and should utilize this, but it's also helpful to plug in your undergraduate institutions and more specifically SU Maxwell, which will just filter and make things a little bit more specific to your interest in most cases, but not all of the time. So in this portal, you can filter by a number of things: geographic location, employer, sort of type of work, what they studied, skills and connections. Really, that first page is the most helpful stuff. So if you know that you want to be in Seattle, you might, first of all, just be interested, who would be my network, who's in my network at home, or who's in my network in the city where I'd like to be. And as you plug in, as you select any of these things, it will further filter. So in Seattle, here are the employers of Maxwell people. And the old spaghetti factory, we all have career changes, you know? But say you know you want to be in local government, in that area, you might want to see who is the person that works for the city, a city government in the Seattle area. So you can filter as much or as little as you'd like, or maybe you definitely know you're interested in a certain organization, you can do that. And then you can search. If you don't see it populated, you can type in and search the location that you're interested in. And this is international, so you can type in different places all around the world. And same with the employers. I think that's all I wanted to, well, no, I guess I should mention, let's say your goal is to work for UNICEF, which we never hear anything like that, just kidding. So there's a lot of people that may be currently employed here, but this is a huge organization that is certainly possible to work for following your time at Maxwell, but it also might take a couple of years to get to that organization. Say you're really interested in monitoring and evaluation, and the work of UNICEF is extremely appealing to you. You might click on, this is where the turning on the privacy mode might be helpful. What did this person, there we go, what's their history? What did they do immediately after Maxwell? So maybe you have the long-term goal, you know where you want to be, but you know you need to take some steps to get to that dream organization. Then perhaps look at other organizations, or what were the titles, like the, not entry level, but like post-graduate school positions that people had prior to landing their job where you're interested in. And just in doing that, you're going to start to become familiar with the titles that you may want to be looking for, or I know I want to work for this organization, but where is what are the departments that I should be thinking about and looking at? This will give you a lot more information and context to be able to learn about the field or navigate the organizations and the structure that you're interested in. So that filtering aspect helps you to do that research. And it will also, these are all people within your network. So all of these people are available to you to connect with. Towards the end of the presentation, I'll go more into the how, but these are all potentially people that you could reach out to and connect with in the ways that we're going to talk about. So change university, use SU, use Maxwell, use your undergraduate networks, absolutely. Any questions about this portal before I shift? Awesome. And the next very simple but very helpful tool is the advanced search, which is just right up here next to the search bar. As you begin applying to positions, and particularly if you come into my office and you have an application for a certain place, one of the first things I'm going to do is plug in that organization in the advanced search to see who comes up, because hopefully you'll be doing this yourself to see what your network is within that area. But I will in case you don't, because we don't want to miss an opportunity to connect and get advice and help on your application and things like that. So it's helpful for that type of search, specific employer. The people that will come to the top are the people closest to your network. So if you know someone that works there, they'll show up. But just by being part of Maxwell and connected with people, you may be connected with someone from last year's class who's connected with someone from a couple of years ago. So just by nature of the way LinkedIn works, you'll see Maxwell people or people from your other institutions will generally rise to the top of the search when you run this. This is also great for general exploration. So if you know you want to be in a specific part of the country, go to the advanced search and type in a postal code. 90210 within 10 miles, and then search by industry. Who are people in my industry in my hometown or in the city where I definitely want to work? So let's go 90210 government administration and see who comes up. And you can start to do a little bit of research. And you start to see I actually have some type of connection. I have been in Syracuse my whole life. How do I know someone in LA doing government relations? Just because of school. You know so many people, your professional network. So all of this is another great way to find people, but also find places. So, okay, that's great, but if I want to be a Homeland Security analyst in LA, where is a place that I can do that? And so clicking on Josh's profile would show me where I might be looking for those jobs. So it just furthers that ability to research. And again, a person in your network. Any questions about the advanced search? You can also use this for, it generally is set to people, but if you do some keyword searches, it'll bring up other things and groups and different things. Any more questions on that? Cool. So let's go back to, let's see, this is a Maxwell person, right? It is, okay. So I'll use this person as an example. As we transition into, okay, great, I did all the research and I found the people. Now, what do? I want to reach out to them. So I'll show you a couple of different ways that you can actually reach out and connect or request to speak with someone. Once you've joined the Maxwell group, you have the ability to message anyone in that group. So you cannot, unless you have a premium account, which I don't recommend having to pay for LinkedIn, it's perfectly fine in the free version, but you can't message people you're not connected with on LinkedIn. And I generally wouldn't recommend connecting with someone that you don't know yet. I mean, think about how you react to that. You just don't, who is this person? I'm not sure who they are. So if it's someone you really want to invest in and get connected with, I might approach it a couple of different ways. So one option is, if you want to send someone a LinkedIn message, be in a group that they are a part of. Because if you join the Maxwell group and you click the members, hopefully this man is a member. Oh, look at that, he is. Search, and here allows you to send a message to a fellow member. So that's an easy way to be able to access people and send them LinkedIn messages by having shared groups. And it won't automatically come up, so if I just search and it came across them in that advanced search the way I did, I won't automatically have the option to message just because we share a group. You have to specifically follow this path. The group, the members, search, message this way. So that's one tool. And the next tool for specifically contacting alums, and this is specific to Syracuse University and Maxwell alums, is our CUSE community, which I think we may have mentioned a little bit in orientation. The CUSE community is just our name for our alumni database. You as current students are not automatically able to access this system. You'll have to physically come into our office, sign in, get a code, and log in information, and then you'll have access to this. So just come into 202 Maxwell and we can set you up with a CUSE community account. Once you have the account, you have access to the directory, which you'll see up here. And now you can message someone you may have found on LinkedIn, and in this case, this guy's in Homeland Security, so who knows, maybe he's a little more private, but generally, pretty much everyone's here. Okay, so if you find them on LinkedIn, we usually suggest bringing them over to CUSE community and searching. Of course. Okay, so I'll give another example. Say interested in New York State budgeting. You come across one of our alums from last year. Plug her in over here. I just did this like 2 hours ago. I'm not sure what's going on.
And Laura, can I
Mhm.
just interject?
Please.
The CUSE community will be available to you probably as of September. It's because you have to be put into a database that is held by SU, and it's an alumni database, so until you guys are uploaded into that system, but I know you will be, so, and you'll probably come in and either have an appointment with Kelly or Laura and be able to sign in that way to the system, or just come in to me and I can get you all set up into the system and give you your code. And it's a code that is personal to you, so that the alum sees it's coming from somebody here at SU, and they've agreed to be contacted. So, but using LinkedIn and that system together sends them a direct email. Hopefully that alum will respond to you, and then you would be able to respond back to them via their email.
Yep.
So that's really the way that it works, but it's a terrific tool
Yeah.
that we have the ability to use as a graduate student. Not all students on campus, only us and Whitman School are allowed to use it as an active student. So, there you go, there's one more.
So I don't know what my issues were, but in general, when you do your search, the results of your search will populate here, and then you can click on that person. I just randomly plugged in Alaskan alums for the sake of it, and they all populated. So once you click on, I don't know, we've got a lot of problems.
Could be the system.
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm clicking and the email function isn't even, oh, okay. Maybe I just had bad luck with people who don't want to be contacted. I've honestly, this is like the first time I've ever seen that, but if you search someone and they populate, click on their account and click send an email, so that, and this is what pops up. It'll put in your email account as it's associated with your profile, and then you just plug in a subject and a message, and it will email them on their preferred email account, and just come through as a very normal looking email, and at the bottom there's a little asterisk that it came through the SU Alumni Database, and then if they respond to you, then it's coming straight from their email address and you can go back and forth. So the searchability on this is helpful. You can just do first and last name, or in the advanced search you can search things like employer if you're interested in a certain employer. It's limited in what it will give back to you. It usually won't give you the full details of what's this person's title, for example, but what you can do is once you have the list of employers, you can always Google or do a LinkedIn search, so you might be able to figure out those people more so. But generally, identifying people in LinkedIn, messaging them through the CUSE community is definitely the way to go. And this is just a funny example. If you have trouble one day, don't give up and maybe revisit, because I searched Courtney in my office and she came up, and then I searched her here and she didn't. So I think it's just can be a bit of a finicky system. It's a newer. This version is newer, so just don't give up. And of course, like I said, come in our office and we'll set you up with that account. So basically then what, or how do I do this? So you have the person, you have the ability to contact. Now you have to kind of execute, send a message, introduce yourself, make the connection. And usually I suggest just using the email or the message as a way to get to the next closer way of communicating. So you certainly can just email with people, but I really, really recommend seeing if you can set up phone calls, Skype, or in-person conversations. It will get someone so much more invested in you, and it already just shows your confidence and comfort. I think it goes a lot further than just words on a page. So this is a sample. Is this legible at all? This is a sample letter. I put a couple over on the table there, and we have networking sheets in our office in 202 Maxwell. But this is just an example of what I might put if I were reaching out to someone. So the subject might be something that makes the connection immediately, like current Maxwell MPA, or specifically interested in nonprofit management or current Maxwell students, something that will make whatever your connection is with that person, plug it in pretty early so they feel that affiliation early. So introduce yourself. I'm a current MPA student at Maxwell focusing on nonprofit management. Previously, I did a little something, just be brief. Previously I did this. While researching organizations and where Maxwell alums have found success, I learned that you do volunteer management at the American Red Cross in DC. I'm hoping you might be available for 30 minutes or so for a phone call or coffee chat. I'm interested in gaining some insight into your experience working for a national capital chapter within your specific function. So, and you don't even have to be that specific. You may just say, I'm really interested in connecting with people in my field and asking some questions about it as I go through this next year. Just some type of ask or question or what you're hoping to get from that. And maybe it's just ask you some questions about your job or ask you some questions about your career. Greatly appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And just definitely be more formal in these things at first, because every first impressions are definitely important. So you will likely, hopefully, hear back from these people that you connect with. Be sure to tell them about yourself while you're interested in speaking with them, and then set up a time to talk. I highly recommend spending some time preparing for that conversation. Some people are better at just walking in cold to a conversation and leading it and getting all the information that they want, but the last thing you want to do is make someone feel like you were not valuing their time or putting in what is just typically expected from a type of networking conversation. So things that you might do: show you've done your homework, ask about existing projects, ask about things that you already know that are going on in the field. You may ask about current challenges to the field, challenges to their job specifically. Is there a work-life balance issue, or do you work more with a team, or what are the hurdles or resource issues that you face within this specific function or within this organization. How do functions departments work together, skills they recommend you emphasize based on current needs and trends. So maybe they see there's a huge, this is super dated, but there's this huge lack of knowledge on Twitter, social media. I really recommend you spend some time getting to know that, or Excel, or different things. That insight can be really helpful to set yourself apart. And wrapping up your conversation eventually with asking, what other people do you think I should speak to, or maybe other organizations that they are impressed by or interested in. But if you ask for who else should I speak to, they might give you 2 or 3 names that you can either reach out to directly yourself or that they can introduce you to just kind of keep the ball rolling there. But definitely, like, think of maybe 10 questions to go in your conversation with, so you never fall short of, guiding the conversation. Does anyone have questions about that? Okay, so wrapping up, just be professional and be positive. I say that because just like in job interviews and things, it's great to connect with these people and get close to whoever you're connecting with, but don't use it as like a vent session for any reason about either previous work or, just chatting about grad school and the normal struggles. It's certainly a bonding opportunity, but in general, not like using it as a therapy session or just saying negative things about any particular thing. And treat it professionally. You don't have to show up in a full suit or anything, but gauge your audience and present yourself in a professional way. Don't ask them to do your homework for you. So if it's something that you could find out extremely easily from their website or something, show that you've done your background research and have next level questions. Send a thank you, just a follow-up email. Thank you for the time today, really appreciate it. Sending a thank you also allows you to follow up on things that you may have talked about that person may have suggested that they would do for you. And continue to follow up. If you message someone you don't hear from them, it's totally appropriate to follow up maybe like a week or so later as a friendly prompt. Sometimes it just gets lost in the inbox, or people get busy and it falls down the priority list. So it's okay to be persistent, but certainly be polite about it. So follow up, but also follow through. So if they say that they'll connect you with someone and they send that introductory email, you best follow up and actually connect with that person, because if I tell Lauren I'll connect, she wants to be in Hollywood, and I'm like, I'll connect you with my agent cousin, and I send that introductory email, I've got this great friend, Lauren, she's a great actress, and she's going to be really famous, and I hope you can be her agent, and then Lauren never says, yeah, hi, great to meet you, I can't wait to meet you. The bridge is burned basically potentially for both of us, definitely for her, and for me, I look silly in front of my connection. So just definitely follow through on the things that you say you will. Connect with the people that they recommend. Stay in touch. Every couple months you can find an opportunity, like you want feedback on your resume from them, or you see something new happen with their organization. The follow-up can be hard to think like, well, I need a reason to talk to this person, but you can brainstorm, and we can brainstorm with you on that. Let them know where you land. So a year from now, when you all are in the jobs that you want, or 2 years if you're dual degree, or 3, whatever, it's really nice to let people know where you landed, especially if their contacts are at some point were part of what landed you there. Don't forget about the people that helped you along the way, and definitely pay it forward when you're on the other side and an alum and there's a student interested in your work. Be available to them and help. So I promised to give you this. Syracuse University does a LinkedIn Live day that'll be in the Shine Student Center on October 14th. There's a variety of things. Often they have people that work at LinkedIn coming and presenting on tips and tools for LinkedIn. They do LinkedIn reviews. We're happy to do that in our office, but you can come in and do a quick profile review, and sometimes it's helpful to have other people's perspectives too. And then most of the reason I'm mentioning this is they have a photographer there to take nice professional headshots for you. So if you don't have one that you like, don't want to use your composite picture, or don't have someone that can take that picture for you, the October 14th LinkedIn Live Day could be really good for that. And with that, I'll just leave you with our next upcoming Working Wednesday sessions. Be attentive to your email and the signage in case we do shift around times and spaces. But we're going to do introductions to some of these different sectors, and in each of them we'll have at least one, if not two or three, alums or people within the field to talk about their experiences and tips and things in addition to the things that we have. And we'll continue to have food, and certainly grab the food on your way out. Does anyone have any questions? And certainly we'll be here after if you have one-on-one questions too. But anything right now? Catalina?
So if I'm navigating through LinkedIn
Yes.
and I want to send a completely unknown person,
Like a cold call, yeah.
shoot an email or something, it must be in the same group, in a group that we share, like both of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only way I can send an email. There's no way I can like say, hey, I was like.
Yeah, well, the other alternative, I generally don't recommend this, but if it's just you have no connection and you just want to like try this random place, which do it, you can, when you request to connect, if you hit the connect button, usually you can craft a specific message in it. And you might say, hello, I'm a current blah, 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 I'm really interested in the yada, 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 I'd really like to connect. And then you'll be able to, and maybe they'll approve the connection and see that message. You could also do some digging online. I mean, so many of our emails are available online professionally, and you could just go for it with sort of that cold call email. You want to give a lot of thought to it. But generally with LinkedIn, unless you're connected or unless you share a group, the messaging isn't available. Jason, right?
So what I've done in the past is, I don't usually do that on LinkedIn because they'll kind of just write out the spam.
Yeah.
But if you find out where they work, and you kind of know, like, you can find that website, find a number,
For sure.
call maybe HR, say, hi, I'm interested in a career in your company, blah, 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 who you want to talk to, and then kind of insert into the conversation keywords of this person you want to connect with. So maybe they'll say, oh yeah, Jim's the guy to talk to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how you do it.
And just ask around. I mean, feel free to come in our office and just strategize that. You know, okay, I really want to work at this organization. I don't know anybody here. How? You know, how do we do this? And we can work with you on that. But, you know, just go for it. I think people really like that initiative sometimes. So it's worth it. Any other questions? Good. Thank you guys.